Joining us now is Shawne Merriman, courtesy of Bet Online. Check out Bet Online for the most diverse list of well over 1,000 Super Bowl props, including MVP, length of the national anthem, close to 100 Taylor Swift-related props. Oh, my goodness. Broadcast odds, game and player stats, and much more at Bet Online. Shawne Merriman, he was a Rookie of the Year in the NFL. First team All-Pro in 05, 06, second team All-Pro in 07, led the NFL in sacks in that 2006 season, and we are thrilled to have him on. Shawne, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
We are doing awesome. Look, we were thrilled when we heard that you were going to be coming on with us, and the first question that popped into my mind was the kind of electric nature that you played with, where it was go time every time the ball was snapped. As you look at the way the NFL has evolved since when you were in the league and you were leading the NFL in sacks to where we're at right now with the contact maybe not as violent as it once was, where do you think you would have fit into the modern NFL? Because you played so hard, but with the edge rushers and the way they play now, it would have also fit your style.
Yeah, I always make the joke, man, that I'll probably be playing for free, just handing those checks right over back to the NFL. But look, it's still football, right? And I go to a lot of games. I'm around a lot of the guys still. And so I really can't fault them because they have to play within the rules, right? So you hear especially a lot of older guys say, oh, well, the game is soft, these guys soft. No, they just forced to play within the rules. But I think the NFL has done a good job, man, to just protecting it a little bit better. You don't want them to take it too far because it takes the passion and the fun out of the game. It's still football. The reason why football is the greatest sport in the country is the physicality of it. People love the barbaric, the bruteness of it, the hard hits. These guys are standing at 6'7", 330 pounds, running a t-shirt. It's why we love the game. So, when you start taking too much away from it, you lose that passion a little bit.
Shawne, one of the things I wanted to ask you is the game is different, but the things you kind of alluded to, the violence in the sport, it's still there because you're still dealing with some of the biggest, the most impactful humans that there are. And I was wondering, do you see any of your style in today's players? Are there guys that you look at and you see a little bit of yourself or kind of a little callback to how you played?
Yeah, Khalil Mack is one of my favorite players to watch. Been watching him for a long time. He's our game is kind of very similar, but some of the young guys like Will Anderson, man, he reminds me of a younger version of myself when I first came into the league. A guy that can take the game over, plays with tenacity, very aggressive. You can line him up all over the field, going out and make plays with a lot of enthusiasm and energy. So he reminds me of a younger version of myself as well.
As we look at Super Bowl 59, one thing that every edge rusher loves to have is a guy in the middle that can create some havoc and attract a little bit more attention. And both Kansas City and Philly have those guys in Jalen Carter in Philly and obviously Chris Jones in Kansas City. What does it mean? Can you kind of put it into perspective of what it means to be an edge rusher on the outside when you've got some dominant players on the inside in the interior offensive line and what that does to alleviate some of the pressure on you on the edge?
It's everything. And I always said I played with Jamal Williams. I don't know if you guys remember Jamal Williams, but Jamal Williams was an unsung hero. He was a guy that in a 3-4 that was taking on double teams all the time, pushing the pocket up the field, just allowing me to go out there and getting those one-on-ones. And you couldn't just fan protection or chip me off of the edge all the time because now you put him on one-on-one situations, which most of the time he's going to win because he was so dominant. So have those guys inside, man, it just takes all the pressure off of the edge rusher, really lets you go out there, just pin your ears back and go.
When you look at a team like the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl matchup, can you think of a team that you played against that had that kind of an offensive line with that running game and kind of the bind that would put you in playing off that edge?
Yeah, I would say the Kansas City Chiefs. They had Priest Holmes back there, and then Willie Roaf and Brian Adams. They had a stout offensive line and the run attack. Even when Priest went out and he got injured, Larry Johnson kind of stepped in there, so it was another rushing attack. You just had to gear up for those guys because they're going to run the ball down the hill. And when they got to that second level, to the linebackers, and then they got to the third level in the DBs, you're in trouble. And so when that happened, when they started running the ball well, then you got Tony Gonzalez going to open up. The same thing with the Eagles, same kind of format. When Saquon Barkley starts running the ball well, you start to see A.J. Brown, Smith, those guys get a lot more targets.
We got Shawne Merriman on the line with us, courtesy of Bet Online. Lights out, man. One of the best nicknames in all of sports, joining us on 1080 The Fan. As you faced a lot of great quarterbacks, whether it was Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, in your time, what is it in your approach that changes when you face an elite quarterback like Philly's going to have to go against, lining up against Patrick Mahomes in this Kansas City offense?
You have to understand that these great quarterbacks can hurt you at any given time because, they're not only athletically gifted and talented, but what really makes these guys go is just how their mental approach and their preparation of the game and how they can look at the defense and know exactly what you're doing. Like, you're not going to fool them. And, when you talk about Peyton Manning, he would line up and tell me exactly what we're doing, right? If we're going to move around, the guy was going to shift, I might line up in a B gap to come around and rush off the edge. He would tell me pre-snap. And so you have to understand these guys, the level of preparation they have outside of the physical ability that can hurt you. The preparation leading into the game is just next level.
On the heels of that, Peyton Manning and all of the all-time greats, and Mahomes has this too, that awareness pre-snap of what's coming, even though it may be something that you haven't shown on tape, whether in the last few weeks or all season long. Was it a little bit surprise to you when you saw Josh Allen really taken back by that pressure at the end of the AFC Championship game that Kansas City brought, where they overloaded that right side and they brought the house off that right side? Was that a little bit surprising to see one of the elite quarterbacks kind of almost be taken back by that?
No, not really, because it's Spagnuolo. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And you're talking about one of the greatest defensive minds. And I think he may go down as the greatest before this thing is all said and done. So when you look at how what happened towards the end of the game, Spagnuolo's not his foot is not coming off of the gas. When there's an opportunity to ice the game and finish the game out, he is bringing pressure. He's going to try to confuse you and put you in the worst position possible, and he does that.
Shawne, on the other side of that ball, how different when you're watching the game from when you played, the evolution of the RPO game, and so much of what the Chiefs are predicated on is having so many options in a given play that, with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, the different binds that put you in. You talked about the preparation, but how are you able to kind of exercise those things when you've got so many more different levels to kind of go through as the offense has evolved over the last 10, 15 years?
Yeah, I was with Patrick Mahomes' quarterback coach during the offseason just a couple of days ago at the Shrine Bowl, and just picking his brain on just what makes Patrick go. And the ability for him to not only use his legs, but his decision-making, right, of when he's supposed to get rid of the ball, when he's supposed to make plays extend, right, because there's the younger guys that extend plays to the point where they're going to take a big sack or make a mistake. He'll extend plays just enough for Travis Kelce to get open, somewhere in the spot of the field and make something happen there. So I would say outside of his physical talent and his ability, his playmaking and decision-making is even better than that.
In any big game, we know that the stars have got to show up, but it's the role players that make the big impact in a massive game, whether it's a Super Bowl or a conference championship game. As I was looking down the Bet Online Super Bowl MVP odds, Patrick Mahomes obviously 1-1 in the MVP odds. Who's a guy or maybe a position group that you're keying on in this game that the tides of the game will be turned on and maybe get some value in those MVP winner odds on the Bet Online? Man,
if it's not Patrick Mahomes, I like Xavier a lot. And, they have found ways Xavier Worthy, correct?
Yeah.
They found ways to get him open. And once he gets his momentum or once he starts to, take those end arounds, he's coming around and they hand the ball off to him and they finding those short screens because he can turn it up because he's so fast. He can turn it up and turn that 3-yard catch into 15 quick. And he's done that over and over again. So if it's not Patrick Mahomes, I got Xavier Worthy as MVP.
33-1. I like it.
That's juicy. What's like, keeping it in the non-quarterback situation? What's the one key non-quarterback related for for the Eagles to pull the upset?
Saquon, obviously, for sure. And we've seen him the entire year and what he's capable of doing. But I want to look on the opposite side of the ball, man. I think that Jalen Carter can come up big in this game. and cause Patrick Mahomes to get off of that spot and have to throw on the edge. Now, those edge rushers of KC is going to have to contain once he breaks the pocket because the Eagles pass rush guys like Nolan's going to have to get out there and not come under and not take the bait and rushing up the field and coming under, because when that happens and Patrick Mahomes extend those plays, he's going to extend those plays. Travis Kelce's going to find an open window right in the middle of that defense and sit down and get the ball every single time. That's how they hurt you. That's how they continue to win football games, by extending plays.
Shawne, we really appreciate the time, man. We know that you are up against it, but always appreciate it. Would love to have you on again sometime soon.
You got it. Thanks for having me, guys. And make sure you guys download Lights Out Sports TV. It's my new free ad-supported streaming platform. Bunch of live sports there where we got a big fight Friday, February 7th, a couple days before the Super Bowl for Lights Out Extreme fight, massive fight. We got two guys, actually, that's going to be up ahead to the UFC after this fight. So make sure you guys download Lights Out Sports TV.
Love it. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Shawne Merriman, Lights Out, the greatest nickname in sports, and also the Lights Out app. Shawne is brought to you courtesy of BetOnline. Again, check out BetOnline for the most diverse list of well over 1,000 Super Bowl props, including MVP, length of the national anthem, close to 100 Taylor Swift-related props, broadcast odds, game winner, player stats, and more, including Kendrick Lamar. First song, what do you think it is? What do you think the odds-on favorite is for first song? Kendrick Lamar.
Rapper's Delight.
Close. Wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like us.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
2 to 3, minus 150 on that.
Yeah, and they said that there's a couple words in there, always besides the profanity, that they don't want in there. I wonder if he Justin Timberlake's this.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him doing that.
He's gonna rip off Janet Jackson's top.
This
well,
is
no, going against what they're supposed to do.
This is a bold move by the NFL.
NFL, yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
They haven't gone this route. Basically, I mean, don't be wrong. They went with 50 and Snoop, but they're 40s and 50s. Like,
yeah,
they're old.
Well, and
Kendrick Lamar is literally in the middle of a rap beef where some of his biggest hits are ripping down a Canadian and Drake, and Not Like Us. Holy guacamole. I don't know if they've ever heard any of the lyrics of that. And I like this, but the song Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, 5 to 1 odds. That is the third best odds coming out of the gate to be the first song played by Kendrick Lamar.
Perfect.
I'm old.
Yeah.
Like it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll follow that with Humble. You never know. You never know. You never know. All right. Great stuff from Lights Out. And look, I love getting his insight. I think he is dead on. He'd be playing for free now in the NFL. He would have been the most productive player, but his target zones, it was like, no, I'm just going to bring quarterback down.
Yeah, and it's not just, again, it's not Vontez Burfict dirty. It wasn't that. It was just pure unabashed violence. Yeah. And God, I love watching him play.
Yeah. The Will Anderson one is really
as soon as he
good.
said that, we both looked at each other like, ooh, that's a really good one.
Khalil Mack, it makes sense.
Khalil Mack is like the 1-to-1, like super big up top, violent raw power.
Gosh.
Also plays for the Chargers.
Yeah. So it's like it makes sense. Like, oh, lightning bolt on helmet. I know that.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
Man throw other man very far.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that guy.
I know. I've seen that before. His number's in the 50s too.
Yeah. Also,
make it so easy for me.
We need to bring sack dances back.
Ooh, yeah.
Lights Out sack dance flipping the switch was
it was great.
Great.
It was great.